Hey guys, Sunday, October 13th of 2024. Let's see what the dollar's indicating in regards to seasonality. So without any further delay, let's get into it. So I've been doing a series on the dollar, just kind of showing you my mindset of what could possibly probably be a good trade using the dollar, or if you trade the euro, pound, or Aussie dollar, or gold, or anything that goes inverse. Inverse pretty much is when the dollar's going up, that instrument or whatever it is that's tradable goes down. And when the dollar goes down, whatever that is inverse the dollar normally then goes up. So dollar down, that instrument you trade goes up. Dollar goes up, that instrument goes down. They're inverse. So I've been showing you in the spectrum cycle analysis that we're in an interesting area where somewhere around here, the weekly cycles start going up. But then also you got to be aware of that sometimes there is a snapback, which causes a head fake, and then rips to the upside. The daily spectrum cycle is kind of hit or miss. It's indicating that it's in an uptrend, but could, be wrong. But the weekly is a little more dependable. Not saying guaranteed or that it's going to work out. It's the holy grail, but it's just kind of giving you clues of what's going on in regards to price action and the technique, or the theory behind the actual technique. In regards to Elliott wave, we already came to a conclusion, and I know it's subjective, that we are in a wave 4, and that going into December probably makes sense for a wave 5. So somewhere in October, November, start getting weak and completing a wave 5. So with that being said, catching you up, and if you don't know what I'm talking about, just go to my YouTube channel and look at the latest 2 videos, pretty much titled The US Dollar. Seasonality, percents of months in which the US dollar closed higher than it opened from 2020 to 2024. I'm using 5 years worth of data, and you'd see that September's pretty strong. Then October is above, your midpoint 50%. But then November drops, and there is no data for December. So it's pretty much a bell curve, and we're somewhere in the middle here where it looks like it could be spiraling down. Using 10 years of data, you see that September and October are pretty strong, up 70%, but you can see that November starts getting weaker, and then we got data for December, which is the weakest. So out of all these months, the dollar is normally weak around December. Using 15 years worth of data, excuse me, you see that September and October are 60% and November is strong, meaning that maybe, so we got this nice bump in October, maybe there's an maybe an ABC correction, and then one last leg up, maybe to the second week of November, and then end November into December going down for a wave 5. This is all speculation, but this is just kind of the way I see things. But there's also curveballs that I'll be showing you that maybe if the dollar doesn't go down into December, it could continue grinding higher from here. Lastly, let's look at the 20 years worth of data. This is the max I could go from 2005 all the way to 2024. You see August, September, pretty, not hugely up, but pretty decent, above at least 50%. October gets a little dip. And then November kind of ends strong, or prices higher than September and October. But then December gets a dip. So the theme that I'm kind of getting from every, 5, 10, 15, 20 years is that somewhere between September, October, and maybe your last leg, November, the dollar then starts turning, it starts ending kind of weak into December. Elliott wave says that we're in a 4th wave, possible wave 5 down. So that makes sense. And spectrum cycle analysis on the weekly saying somewhere around here, these cycles are going up. And if you notice the video, we also notice that sometimes there is some erratic movements within the weekly spectrum cycle analysis where you get this really violent move to the downside and then it retraces back. So let's look at the master chart to see if we could get any clues there. Okay, so this is my master chart. This is where I do a lot of my analysis. So let's look at what I had here a while back. First thing, I had a spectrum analyzer using the RPO setting, which is different from the other spectrum cycle analyzer I showed you in the other videos. And you can see that I used 3 cycles. I don't know the numbers on these. I just know that they're important. And this, I probably had this in my chart for a long time. So I just want to see, and I want to see compare it to a new one, cycles that I just created today, and see if there's any differences. So what you notice here is this green one that bottoms out somewhere between, you could say, January, February, March, create this trough, and then this cycle goes up around 2027. Then you got this green and blue one that are pretty close in proximity, and they bottom out pretty much right here in this area where we at right now, and we just made a low here. You got prices going up. So you got this right here, and then you got this right here, meaning that we could probably get the wave 4 to wave 5 leaning into, you could say, January around here, and then turn around. So this is what I had before, or this is what I had in the chart. I created a composite using these 3 cycles, and this is what it shows right here. We're in that ballpark for a possible turning point here. And see that I use the word possible because we don't know yet. There's a lot of moving parts here, and too early to tell. But the closer we get into November and December, we could probably tell what's really happening. So this is what I had when I opened this chart. I was like, okay, so nothing's really changed. Even though that, you know, it was going down here and it went up, it eventually followed the cycle. And now we're right here smack in the middle. Is it going to follow this? Pull back, do an ABC, not ABC, a wave 5 into December, and then continue going higher? You know, leaning into June around there, July. We'll see. So let's take this out. And now this is one I created today. So notice that I added a couple of more. Let's zoom in. So I added 5 in here. Let's zoom into here. Let's close this a little bit. You can tell my allergies are still messing with me, but I'm going to continue moving forward. So this cycle looks familiar with the one that bottoms out around next year, January, February. These two pretty much are similar. The only one new ones, the 2 new ones, well, you could say 2, is this one and the magenta, the green and magenta. So I have 5 here. You can see that they all cluster here. One came in early, magenta, which is around here. But this is a hot zone right here. And I created a composite. No, not this one. This is the composite. Of all these 5 cycles, they all created here. And it's still kind of showing the same theme of this one that I created a while back. Everything is kind of lining up here with the dollar. Down here is my original spectrum cycle analysis using 3 lining up here, and then 1 coming in a little later, meaning that maybe a wave 5 will create this one. And then these 2 that are new, which is this one, the magenta, The magenta came in early, somewhere around here. You can see that price action just continue going down. And this new one, which is shorter time frame, bottoms out here with the green, with the blue and the red. So nothing's really changed in regards to the spectrum analysis using the RPO setting. It all has a theme that chances are that we could probably go higher from here, but it's all probability. I also created a harmonic box showing me what's the most important ones here. There's this one here, which was in August. Pop, fail new low or head fake and bounce. And then the next one will be coming into May the 2nd, somewhere around here. And that's pretty much using these 5 cycles. This is probably the important area right here within all these cycles. So the question you may ask, are we going to rally from here? There is a 50-50 chance that it could if it's going to ignore the seasonality. So let's zoom in a little more here. So let's go over here. So we know December is the weakest. And then from January on of 2025, the dollar typically using seasonality gets this nice bump. So somewhere between October and November, it starts stalling and we start hitting lower into December. And then this is what it typically does. So let's look at our natural cycles and see what happens there. Our annual cycles are showing a bottom around October 2nd. The low came in on September 27th. Peak around 11/17. Ish around there, or that week of 11/17, down into December, then this nice rally into next year. That's what typically the annual cycle shows. Using 3 years worth of data, it peaks around October and then straight down into December around the 19th, right before Christmas. Kind of wakes up and then rallies into 2025. That's using 3 years worth of data, which I call the fast annual. The mid annual, somewhere, it's a little choppy. You can see there's head fakes, which this could probably play out. It all leads into November as a final peak before going into December. And then a nice rally. So this could probably play out also. Little pullback next week, and somewhere around the 20th, rally again, one more leg higher, and somewhere around November, go down. The last one will be the annual, which is the 1 year and a decimal, 10 years. You can see that we're in that ballpark now where it could probably turn here into the ending of October. Get a nice rally into December. So this one really ignores the December weakness, which is kind of odd. But this is what the data is showing. So it's going against the grain of December being weak. So if you put all these, it gets a little messy. You can kind of see that there's more that goes down into December, and the odd one is the annual and decimal combined. That still is bullish in December. Gann said to look at 10 years in the past to see for any clues into the future. And you can see that this one is odd also. It shows the dollar rallying. Little pullback here, and somewhere around the 22nd, it doesn't look back. But it totally ignores the weakness into December and continues going higher into, you can say, March. He also said to look at 20 years in the back, in the past, and you can see that this one kind of lines up with everything else I've been showing, where we get a little weakness into December. And then wake up, bounce, retrace, and go in that. So that kind of lines up, as you can see, with everything else here going down into December. But what's your curveball? Well, your curveball will be the 10-year. That this year, the dollar will ignore December weakness and that there is no wave 5 and it could continue going higher. So what is the catalyst that could create this dollar to continue going higher? Well, that's where the spectrum cycles kick in. So it could go either both ways. It could go here, retrace, pull back, December weakness, and continue rallying, or may just ignore seasonality weakness into December and just continue chucking along higher. Because the weekly cycles are confirming it. The daily cycles are confirming it. And the next thing we'll do, and we'll probably look at the, I'll probably do a video on that if I can, will be the commitments of trader report, and then look at Gann theory. Look at what Gann would do in regards to the dollar, some of his techniques, and see if all of this, correlates, makes sense, see what is going against each other. What's in the direction of it going higher, or there's possibly more downside. With Elliott wave, there's downside to wave 5. Spectrum cycle analysis shows that sometimes the dollar does these head fakes and then snaps right back up, which kind of lines up with the Elliott wave theory. And then you got and these are two techniques of Gann using the 10-year and the 20-year. And one is going up and one is going down. So it's not helpful, but in the sense it is helpful because it could tell you, it's 50-50. The dollar doesn't pull back and take out this low into December, or does a fail new low and just goes up from here, into December, then that's what the dollar's going to do. And from here, rip. But if it doesn't take out that low to do a real wave 5 to like $98, $99, dollar target down there, follow the seasonality, chances are that maybe, just maybe, this is our low right here. And it's going to probably ignore November, December weakness, and continue going from here. So what do you do as a trader? Well, you want to look at, the euro. We're going to rip from here. That means the euro is going to start going down. I don't know about gold. I don't know. Gold is interesting because the dollar could continue going higher and gold would be like, nope, I'm not going down. But it also could go down. But it all depends on the cycles itself and everything else. You got to look at that. But because I've seen the dollar and gold rally together, which is odd, but they sometimes move together and sometimes they go against each other. So that one is a little more trickier. It's not like, the currencies and the euro and the pound and all that. That most of the time when the dollar's going up, they go down. They're inverse. But occasionally you'll probably see the dollar and the euro going up, but then it'll just snap and change direction. So let's see what else I could show. Let's see if we could take this off here. And lastly, using the annual quant analysis, which is the quant analysis here, is indicating go high or go long until November 2nd, but it doesn't tell you to sell. This is using 10 years worth of data. From August 29th to November 2nd, 10 up. So far, you would go along here. You probably felt some pain here, but feel new low and looking at this indicator and put a trend line, you would be like, all right, maybe you should probably go long. This is probably playing out just using this indicator by itself. But it does tell you you should probably get out or start trimming your stops really closer, because from November, and we already know that this is where it could potentially turn here and get a week. But notice that starting 2025, you can see pretty much January, it gives you a double signal to go long, meaning that it knows that from here on out, the dollar gets a different characteristics of making higher highs and higher lows at the beginning of the year. I'm going to sign out. Hopefully this was helpful. Let me know your thoughts on the dollar. What are you planning to do? Do you trade the dollar? Do you trade the currencies? You trade gold? I know people ask about gold. I think about gold, you probably have to analyze gold itself and do some research and see the correlations between the dollar. And I've done a little bit, and I've noticed that sometimes they go together and sometimes they go against each other. So not really an edge there, because they could kind of go in tandem and then, avoid each other and go inverse. You have to take a look at other things on gold and silver and the metals and see where they're at in regards to the cycles and other techniques. I'm going to sign out. Hopefully you like this video. Now keep you posted on my thoughts on the US dollar.